I went all in. I worked with disabled people for 7 years. I took night shifts. So I saved all the money so I could invest in the music videos because back then it was not only iPhone, it was expensive, like real expensive. So I went all in and did it, and it's the best thing I have ever done.
Annella is a self-made, 100% independent electro swing success story. A staple of the scene for over a decade, you probably know her from her iconic hits like Perfume, Trouble, and Bass Me Baby. But in this episode, we meet the woman behind the glamour. From growing up in a refugee camp and how it shaped her music, to run-ins with industry sharks and the vocal surgery that threatened to end her career, Annella opens up with honesty and humility in one of our most personal interviews yet. She also shares the mindset and work ethic that fuel her music and her rapidly growing vlog channel, offering insight and inspiration for independent artists everywhere. We cover all this and more in this powerful episode of the Electro Swing Podcast with the wonderfully talented Annella. Welcome to the Electro Swing Podcast.
Yay! Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
All right. So for anyone who isn't aware of you already, can you just give us a very quick introduction to who you are and a little bit about your music, please?
Yes, so my name is Annella. I am an independent artist and I have been doing music for over 10 years, something. If you look at my back catalog and check my music out on Spotify, you definitely notice that I'm in love with music and with genres, and I love to mix and play around and just have fun and improvise and just, take risk, play with music and just do, just have a lot of fun with it.
I thought we were about to get serious. You know me and you. I didn't know you would make love at another place too. I was ready to settle down. Now you won't see me around. You heard your lady. You've been a bad, bad, bad boy, baby. I smell perfume on you, but I guess it's not mine. Where have you been? I thought you were mine. How could I be so dumb, 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 dumb? I smell perfume on you, but I guess it's not mine. Where have you been? I thought you were mine. How could I be so dumb, 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 dumb?
How did you first get into making music?
I fell in love with music at a very, very young age because of my dad, actually. My father was a saxophone player and a clarinet player and also a singer. But he was very afraid. He always felt very naked. He always explained it as it was a naked feeling to stand in a crowd and sing. So he was always hiding behind the saxophone and the clarinet. And some of my actually best memories, even though it was in a very dark place, I grew up in a refugee camp when I was a little girl from the age of 1 to 7. So some of my kind of best memories from my dad was when he was playing for hours, sitting there playing his saxophone. And even everything was so crazy and very, very dark. This was like my safety. And I remember when I was 9 years old, I saw an opera singer on the television and she was singing like this crazy high notes. And I was like, I want to be an opera singer. Like that was the thing. I was obsessed. And then like 2 or 3 weeks after, I saw Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera. And then I had like kind of a dilemma, but I chose the pop way. So I was like obsessed. After the refugee camp, it was called the Lion, which is a camp here in Denmark. So after the camp, we got a big house. And in this house, we had this giant, giant garden and this giant apple tree in the garden. And I was kind of a kid that was I was imagining a lot of stuff. So I was a bit creative. So I remember going out in this garden and all the apples lying on the floor. I imagined them being like the audience. And I was singing and, the sunlight was my spotlight. And I was just like literally early for so many hours singing my heart out and being like Christina Aguilera, just literally feeling it. And then after a lot of concerts for the apples, I went to my daddy. And he was like, "What are you doing?" and all that stuff. But also he didn't want me to do music because he knew how hard it was. So he was never forcing me. He actually wanted me to play tennis and do something more easier or something, because I always had this discipline. So he was like, "Play tennis, it's better for you." Anyway, I went to him and I wrote my first song called Please Be My Boy and I'm Your Babe. And I gave it to him and he was like, he was quite impressed by the songwriting. He was like, where did you get this from? Like, you're only 9 years old. And he actually believed in me and started sending me to studios just, to record myself and just to learn, to be in the studio. And he bought me a tiny recorder. And I was just, for many, many years did that. And then my daddy passed away at 14. And after that, things got very dark in life, but music was good. So I turned definitely to music. While everybody was having fun living their young childhood, just having fun and being kids and young teenagers, I was in the studio expressing my music, just getting all my sorrows out. And I did that till the age of 18. I was not so lucky at that time. So I actually had a lot of these producers stole some of my music and, took advantage of. I was a very naive girl back then. I was very, very naive. Yes. And that happens in the music industry. Not all the time. There's a lot of good stuff, but it can happen. And so that it was actually a big, big shift. And I always believe that no matter how dark and bad things happen, it happens for a reason, even though it's all cliche. But that gave me a mindset that said, you know what? I'm going to do this myself. So I turned 18 and I went to the bank and I was like, talked to my bank advisor, look her in the eyes and said, I need a loan. I need 100,000 Danish kroner because I'm an artist. I will invest in my studio. And I like literally convinced her. She gave me the loan. I went, I
At
bought.
age 18?
Exactly. Yes. I was very like dressed up in suit and all that stuff. And she was like, she gave me the loan. And I built my studio, apartment, was turned into a studio. I lived there. I just had a bed and then the studio. And it was the best thing I could do because I could literally make noise online. I think it was MySpace and all these, Yes, and I was just putting it out and just playing, having fun and learning how to do Pro Tools. And back then it was not like now with Logic and stuff. I needed to buy like the drums to create the drums but it was so much fun. And then I learned, to do videos, YouTube tutorials. This is like how it all started.
I want to dive into your career. And you mentioned earlier that you're independent and do everything yourself. I just want to ask if that's really true because it looks so polished. Everything you do looks so professional. And I just assumed that you were signed to a label and potentially a major label.
No, thank you, first of all, for noticing that and for saying that because I have so much of my time making it look polished and, really learning the skills to make it look polished. But yes, I am 100% independent. I have done this for many, many years and I love it actually. It is a very, very, hard path to take because you are alone. Like every release day, you will sit there, even today, I just sit there waiting. Who will share, every time you release a new music, you are alone. And you have to, because when you are signed to a big label, major record deal, they will open so many doors for you. But as an independent artist, you need to learn how to do, the promo, learn the algorithm, like literally do all this stuff, learn how to edit, learn how to even do a script for a music video, learn the songwriting, hook lines. All that stuff is such a big part of it. But yes, I've been independent since actually the story before where I bought the studio. And I was just, involved in the recording and learning everything myself. And I learned like, okay, this is a superpower because many artists actually don't want to do all this hard work, and many artists, also something I really feel very passionate about, many artists don't treat their career as a business. And you can say whatever you want to say, but music is a business. That's the reason why the labels are business. And there's nothing wrong. I love labels. And I also really always say to people, you want to get a good record deal and a good label deal. But before even getting that deal, you need to do a lot of your work. You need to show them that you are something. Otherwise, you need to learn to do all the hard work yourself. And now where I am, I have done it so much myself. So I am in this kind of loop, I know what to do. I know I can ask that. I don't need 20 people to tell me what they think, which is good because now I'm also very alone. I have to do all the decisions. And sometimes when I look at some stuff 7 months later, I'm like, oh, I could have done this so much better. It's so annoying. And even the editing, when you look at the videos, it's so annoying. But sometimes you just have to do your babies, do your best, and just give it to the world and let the world judge it. Like, there's nothing more you can do.
I totally agree. Let's talk a little bit about your release history. So I'd like to talk about your early electro swing stuff to begin with, and then we can talk about your other more kind of diverse stuff later. So can you tell us a little bit about the first few tracks that you released and how they came about, please?
Yes. Okay, so when I started making electro swing, I had no idea I was making electro swing. And I didn't know that actually for 2 or 3 years. I was in the studio, and I remember I came with the CD from Christina Aguilera, the album called Back to Basic, which was the album of my life. I was obsessed with this album. And I remember I worked back then with Lars, one of my producers, one of my friends who was a saxophone player. And I said, Lars, let's do this. Let's make EDM. Like, the fundamental is EDM. It's clubby, it's dark. And then I want a simple pop melody with a little of Balkan music, because my vocals love to play and do the Balkan stuff. Let's have some deep, dark, big horns. So that is what I was saying. And then I played him, Christina Aguilera, Back to Basic. And I said, I want this, but crazier, wilder. And he was like, I don't get it. But then we played, and he got it, and he loved it, and he was a very good saxophone player. He actually played the sax on Bass Me Baby, and we were just having fun. And I had no idea. And I tried to convince labels in Denmark that this sound was good, and I was telling them, Christina Aguilera did it, I'm doing it differently, I am adding my own. And they were all loving it. Nobody was criticizing it, but nobody was willing to do it or try it out. And then randomly, I got somebody compared it with Paro Stella. And I was like, who is that? And then the world opened up, and I saw Paro Stella. I saw Alice Francis. I was obsessed and still am obsessed with Alice. I was like, and then I went to all the people and said, guys, I'm not crazy. This is working. I have proof. There is a scene for this. Oh my God. So what actually happened for me, I got so much confidence. I was like, okay, it is working. I'm not crazy. And there's actually an audience for this. So I got just so deep, even more, hungry to do this. Because sometimes, when you're so alone and then people do it, you are just like, yes. And then I got introduced to Thomas Weurer, my amazing producer, who made the songs for what it is. Like, Thomas, I love him forever. So Thomas and we were just like, we saw the electro swing, and because I'm a pop girl by nature still, I also said, I love the electro synth scene, but I want mine to be a little bit more poppy. And I also want to add some Balkan, in the horns, and just do it a little bit more darker and more EDM-ish as well. So we just was playing around. And the thing about Thomas is I could say so many things about Thomas, but he's a music genius, like next level. I have never met a person like him. He knows, and he can play like all instruments. Like, he's a wow. And we are very aligned when it comes to music. Like, I can just say to him, I like it to be like this, and he knows what I mean. Like, we are tuning in, and it was
synergy. And that's just to interject. Sorry, that's Thomas behind Intended Immigration and 11 Acorn Lane.
Yes,
the same guy. Yeah. Okay.
Yes,
cool.
He's the brain behind all that and behind everything.
And what tracks of yours did he specifically work on?
All the big ones, like Bass Me Baby, Trouble, Perfume. Like, right. That was we had so much fun with Perfume. Kissemisse, like all the first 15 songs, I think that is Thomas. And we really played with the genre. And before being in the studio with Thomas, I was, going to studios and working with a lot of producers. And all producers were always, because I'm a vocalist and I love to play with my colors, and I have really done a lot to be good at, playing with my instrument. And every time they were like, good, Annella, but just tone it a little bit down. It's a little bit too much. Just, you don't need to scream. Don't do this. And I was like, I'm not screaming. I'm actually singing, but okay. And I remember going to the studio with Thomas, and we were recording. And then all of a sudden, he's also like me, very happy and energized. And he just turned around and looked at me and said, oh my God, Annella, this is like a kid being in a candy store. There's so much I can choose from. I love it. And I just remember freezing and being emotional. I'm like, oh my God, for the first time, somebody's not trying to change me or tame me or just, tone me down.
your more recent stuff is like reggaeton and dancehall and Albanian. I know you've got a new song out today, which we can talk about. So can you tell us a bit about that as well, please?
Yes, I'm just literally having fun. And my husband is just like, just have fun, do whatever you want to do because you are independent. I realized like, oh my God, yes, I am. I can actually do whatever I want to do without anybody, saying no, because I don't have 30, 40 people that have to agree to put a song out. I can just do whatever I want to do. And that is what I realized. And then I am like a very punctual person. So I made it a schedule. And now for example, now I already made the song for next year. So I'm always a year ahead and organized, made a plan because when I say I do something, I need to do it. Otherwise, I'm a little bit OCD. If I don't do it, I get stressed. So I just make my own schedule, make my own, system. So this way I can put out whatever I want to do. And right now I'm a little bit obsessed with, yes, dancehall, piano, Afrobeat, Oriental. So, and this is the best time right now because people are so open to mixing and watching. Like before when I started, it was not so, common. Now people love it. Now people are more open. And now actually everybody wants to be unique and different.
So you've got a new song that's just come out. Can you tell us about that, please?
Yes, it is called Veres, which means summer in Albania. And it is kind of a sad song, even though the song talks about that she met this guy last summer and she's obsessed. She's not getting over him. And, everything reminds her of him, his eyes. And then we did the most crazy video production. We had so much fun with some girls in Denmark. A girl called Nancy. She contacted me because she fell in love with, I think it was Perfume, my song. And she was like, oh my God, Annella, I want to be in your videos. And I have a lot of girls and you are such a girly girl. And I can see you do burlesque and all that. And I was like, come on, I always say yes to beautiful girls on my videos, like 100%. And then we talked and we met and she made these crazy choreographies for my videos. And then, I'm the director. So every time I know exactly how I want it. So I made the storyboard and all that stuff. And she loved it and everybody loved it. And we just had so much fun. And the other scene is my husband with iPhone just filming me and literally, that's
Which is crazy because, I'll insert a bit of the video here so people can see it, but it looks so professional. So the fact that, you directed it yourself, I'm guessing you edited it yourself based on what we've discussed already, yeah, and that some of it was shot on an iPhone and that it looks the way it does is phenomenal.
Thank you. Oh, that's the biggest compliment.
I'd like to talk a little bit about your creative process as well, because you write your own songs, you work with producers, but what does that process look like for you when it comes to everything from coming up with the idea to writing the lyrics to having the idea for how it should sound? Just tell us the process, please.
See, this is the fun part. Yes. Well, I have a very, very crazy imagination. I see a lot of things in my head and there's different processes. So let's take the one where I am 100% involved. For example, where I write everything. Then it starts with I'm a lyric girl. So for me, lyrics, words are everything. And so I start writing like a story, like a little novel where I just write a story. Like for example, she walking down with her heels, meeting this guy. He said this, blah, 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 blah. You have a story, right? And after that, I take lines in this novel that I like, that are hook lines, kind of good sentences that are visualizing and good, And then I put them into rhymes. And once I have them in rhyme, I sit with melody and chorus and play around with that. So that means 70% of the songs the song is done. And then when I play with the melody and stuff, then it is 100% done. And then I hire either Emil, which is one of my producer, Emil Severin, amazing producer. and then Fred Miller, which also is another producer. And then I hire them and they get the vocals. I record the vocals with Fred Miller, one of my producers in Denmark. And then one of them will get the song, which one I feel will suit them best. And then I give them a long mail. They know me and they don't get offended. This is just how it is. They get like a 10 pages mail where I explain exactly what I want. And then they also have freedom, but they know how to do it around. This is way everybody's happy. They don't have to do extra work. They know what I want and they just do that. But then there's other process, like for example with Thomas, that's totally different. Like I have ideas, he has ideas. Thomas is very involved. He's like I said, a genius. So when we sit, we just like, I said a word, he said something, and we just like continue. And that's just magic. That's something I even can't explain how it happens.
You edit all your own music videos as well. How important a part of the creative process is the music video for you?
It's everything. I love it because I think that's also why I put out so many music videos. Because for me, it's so weird. You have an idea in your head, and then you stand there on location. You have been on location hunt. You find the spot. You have made, the vision board. You have made the storyline, everything. And then on set, you have like 30, 20, 10, 50 people show up. And everybody's purpose that day and everybody's mission is to make my little idea inside my brain come to life. That's the craziest. Every time I am on set, I always have to pinch myself. I'm like, I did this. Yeah, I made this,
Your video for Perfume,
that was fun.
That's a great example of like how I heard the song first and then I saw the video and I was like, okay, the video looks exactly how I imagined it, even down to the colors and stuff like that.
Oh my God, I love that. Okay.
And was that how you saw it in your head when you were coming up with the song?
Actually, with Perfume, first of all, I wanted to do like a Cruella de Vil kind of scene in a very old house that was burned down. And then I saw this perfume and I was like looking at it and being like, oh, where is she? That was the vision to begin with. But the place I wanted to rent, that was one of the scenes I couldn't get. And then I was sitting till late at night and just, stressing about it because it was 2 days before the video shooting. And I called back then my very good friend, camera guy, Jonas Torp. And I was like, Jonas, but there's also another idea. We can also do this, the story that happened. And it's like, that's even crazier. Well, what other we do is crazy, Annella. Let's just do it. We had so much fun. And this guy that was buried, he was just
that poor guy, man.
Yeah. So humble. And we need to do it over and over. And I needed to be hard on him because I was like, sorry. I needed to hit him. And I was like, we had so much fun. And
I was going to ask because, there's that bit where he's tied up and you slap him. And I'm like, that looks
we did
real.
It so many times.
Yeah. In addition to your music, you've also got a successful vlog. Can you, tell us about that, please?
Well, the vlog is my playground. Thomas was 10 years ago, was like really forcing me. Annella do vlogs, and the behind the scenes for Perfume and the stuff was something we already did back then. And then my husband has been like, do a vlog. You are so funny. People have no idea how not polished you are and not perfect. You are very clumsy and funny and all that stuff. So, and he was like, people need to know. And he was like, if I had one thing I could do is to make people see you through my eyes. And I was like, okay, this is funny. And then my friends, they always forced me to, do it. And I was like, no. And, I also think it's about timing. And when you put out something so personal and you are out there with your personality, you definitely need to be ready. So I needed to do a lot of healing, and because people are very mean on the internet. So you need to be ready. And especially if you are outspoken and if you talk like I do on my vlog, I'm very vulnerable. I talk about trauma, life, up and lows, music industry, how to do it in the music industry. Like, I'm really out there being honest and all that stuff. So for me, I was like, if I'm going to do vlogs and have this other channel, it needs to be totally different than my music. Because like you said, my music is very polished. I'm very like Little Miss Perfect. Everything is so beautiful. But on the vlogs, I needed to tell like the girl behind the mask, like, I have been through stuff, and that's what made me who I am. And also, I think because my life has been so dark, I always try to make it look perfect. And now it is finally perfect. It's not perfect, life, but it's good. And I'm happy. And that's because I did the work to create this good life now. And then I was also like, oh my God, well, I don't want to show off. I need to find a way where it's not show off, but how can I give? And I finally found it. I know now I'm doing vlogs where I take different topics and I'm showing everything. Like me without makeup at the gym, talking about my past, my life, my trauma. Like even a new vlog will come out where I was in a deep hypnosis. So I'm like very, very like honest.
We are going to move on to the quickfire round. What is one thing in your career that you are most proud of, either creatively or commercially?
I am most proud of my dignity and the way I handled my business and the way I have respected myself through the whole journey. Because of my past and my childhood, I really am so proud now looking back and saying, I did it all myself. I had my backbone. I stayed true to my music. I worked with Thomas who made this production and, this whole journey and discipline. I taught myself discipline. I didn't came from a family where I learned it. Not at all, and I lost my daddy so early. So I am so, so proud that I did that. And I still continue. I have seen so many artists put out 1, 3 songs, 5 songs, and then they quit because it's so hard. And I'm like, you need to continue. And I think that drive is something that I didn't know it was so cool till now that I get older, and especially after working with my vlogs, how much of a backbone I actually have.
What would you say is the biggest or one of the biggest challenges you've had so far in your career?
That will be my vocal surgery. Well, what happened? It was in a concert. I lost my voice during the concert, I definitely needed to undergo a surgery, which was very, very big and very traumatic. But what happened was I went into a very, very deep depression, which I was in for 2 years. I didn't sing. I couldn't sing for 2 years. And then I developed, anxiety for singing, and it was very, very dark. But anyway, what happened at that time is I really needed to realize, like, Ollie, this is it. You either do music or you're done. And for me, I really hit rock bottom, and I just realized, okay, I didn't choose music. Music chose me, because without music, I'm dead. And for me, it was like the biggest shift in my life. And I went all in. I worked with disabled people for 7 years. I took night shifts. So I saved all the money so I could invest in the music videos, because back then it was not only iPhone, it was expensive, like real expensive. So I went all in and did it. And it's the best thing I have ever done, even though it was so, so crazy. And I have so much love and respect now for my vocals. And even if I lose it now, I can say, let's say I cannot sing tomorrow, I'm done. I still did it, and I did it. I can listen to myself and say, I sounded good back then. I did it, So that is what it really was the lowest point in my career, which made me like really lose it, literally.
But it sounds like you turned it into a positive, which seems to be like a recurring
100%.
theme with a lot of the negative stuff in your life, is that you've managed to transform it into...
I think that is actually my superpower. I don't know why I have this. I actually had a girl once said to me, Annella, your superpower, you have two, is the superpower to walk away from toxic things at the end and to stay positive. Because you can go down and be very negative, but I don't know. I think I have seen people succeed. So you can change your life. And I think that is what have always inspired me. And I also gave my daddy a promise when he, actually 2 weeks before he passed away, he looked me in the eyes and hold my hand, and he just was crying. It was the first concert he ever saw. And he was like, just promise you will never stop making music. So, sorry. I get emotional.
No, it's
I promised
moving.
him that. And for me, I have done this ever since. And I will forever keep that promise. And I'm proud of that.
This is my favorite question, and I think you'll probably have a great answer for this, which is, if you could go back in time and give your younger self some advice, what stage of your life would that be, and what would the advice be?
That would 100% be, don't be loyal to everyone. because this is something I needed to learn the hard way. I was loyal to people who used my time. And one thing I can never get back and something I can never pay for is time. Really be picky with your time. Not everybody deserve your loyalty. And for me, I was like, if you do this for me, I owe you forever. And this is also something my husband and Thomas also taught me, like, this is a business. You are loyal, but that it's not to offend people. You just have to do your thing, and that's business.
What is a track of yours that you feel deserves more love?
Well, my baby, if we can put a track that explains my soul, like my inside my soul, that's Ice King. Like, Ice King is the baby, and the first song I sang after my vocal surgery, the verse where I told you I was crying in the studio, where Thomas made it so cozy. That song was my whole life wrapped in that song. And I remember when Thomas sent me the production, I was just crying. It was so, but I feel like people love it and it is good. But, you know, the numbers and stuff is okay. It's not that it's bad at all. But, that is
Just
like
want
that.
as many people to hear it as possible. Okay, cool. So any final words for fans of your music?
Thank you for always supporting me and for, no matter how crazy my music turns direction, you guys always support and have been there for over 10 years. My God, it's so crazy. So thank you so much. I will always go back to make electro swing. So, but I also like to play around because why not?
So my last question is, do you have anything coming up that you want to promote or shout out or plug? Obviously, you've got your new song, Verdes.
Yes, that one, and also on my vlog channel, because I think it would really be good for especially if you are an artist that want to start out, and especially in the electro scene and stuff, see how I do it, because I literally share it all with you guys. I'm not keeping anything, and some of that is kind of the glamour side, but you can, skip on the content. There is a lot, but there's a lot of the music and how I go to the studio, how I write, how I produce. So I think the best thing that is helpful for you guys is definitely my vlog channel, Annella Vlogs. And of course, my music. I put out every 8 to 6 weeks new music. So that will mean the world if you guys would support that.
Cool. Amazing. All right. Well, thank you so much for all your time. And thank you for being so open and vulnerable as well with some of the answers.
And thank you for amazing questions. It is so nice. I'm very, very grateful. So thank you so much. It was such an honor. Yay!
Thank you. So that was the latest episode of the Electro Swing Podcast, brought to you by Electro Swing Thing and hosted by me, Offbeat. If you want to find out more about our guest, links to their music and socials can be found in the description. And if you want to follow us, please do so at Electro Swing Podcast on all major platforms. And if you want to get a heads up about upcoming guests and a chance to ask your questions, then sign up at electroswingpodcast.com. I'll be back in another couple of weeks with my next guest, and thank you very much for tuning in.